Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today I really want to talk to you about these two guys. So this is the EcoFlow Delta 2 and the Alternator Charger, and these two things together are a significant game changer if you're into overlanding, remote camping, or camping in general. And let me tell you why. Alright guys, so if you've been a fan of the channel for any amount of time, you know that I pretty much always have some sort of battery pack in my car. I like camping with a fridge, I like having all my camera gear and my drones always charged. I like making coffee in a very specific way. So having a portable battery pack for me is essential. I've had quite a few of them over the years now. Some of them have been a little smaller, some of them have been a little larger. This one from EcoFlow, the Delta 2, is pretty much sort of in the middle of the range between all the ones that I've had. And I got to tell you, I've had it in my car now for a couple of weeks and I am absolutely blown away by how good this little unit is. Now, as you can tell, it's not massive. It's not huge. I have it in my car permanently and I drive a Jimny, so space is always at a premium, and this thing fits in really nicely. It's easy to handle, it's easy to move around. I don't really feel it in terms of the weight in the car, which is great. And yeah, it is a standard sort of battery pack. It'll do what all other battery packs do, and it'll supply you with over 1,000 watt hours of power, and that should get you through a day or two out at camp. No problem, easy peasy. But where this battery pack really shines is where you combine it with the EcoFlow Alternator Charger. So these are two very, very different bits of kit. You've got a battery, you've got a charger. The EcoFlow charger plugs into your original car battery, all right? And you've got to run a cable, which was a little bit complex for me, but I'm sure most of you will be fine. You've got to run a cable from the battery compartment into the car to wherever you're going to have your Delta 2 and your alternator charger. And then something really interesting happens. This thing supplies 800 watts of power to the EcoFlow Delta 2. All right. Now, I don't know about you. I don't know if you've ever tried doing anything like charging something like this remotely, but even if you have a 400 watt solar panel, beautiful solar panel in full sun, ideal conditions, you might get 300 watts out of it, maybe. This thing supplies 800 watts right off the gate, even from my little Jimny car battery. All right, it's kept this guy charged at 100% the whole time, which is absolutely profound. I've plugged everything into this thing that I could possibly think of to plug in, and it's ate it up. I think the lowest I ever got on the battery was 79% or 74% or something, and all I had to do was turn my car on, and within, you know, the time it takes to make a coffee and have some breakfast, it's right back to 100%. Now for me, that is phenomenal. That's great. That removes all my battery anxiety, especially when I'm going on remote or for extended periods of time and running fridges and all of that sort of stuff. This thing can handle it, even though it's a smaller pack, which I think is a really important consideration for anyone buying a battery pack these days. Like, all of them are very, very similar in what they can do and what they can offer. This guy can pretty much run anything you throw at it. I've tried most of my appliances and they all work just fine. I think the peak watt output is 2,700 watts, which should run pretty much anything unless it's a very, very specific piece of equipment. And yeah, it's kept it going the whole time. So for me, the combination of these two little bits of kit is an absolute game changer. Now, what does this mean for the normal sort of everyday person? Right, so that means if you have a battery solution in your car like the Delta 2, you're never going to run out of power, ever. Okay, that's point one. Point two, this thing can also reverse charge your car battery, which is awesome. So provided you have some power left in the Delta 2, with the alternator charger you can reverse charge your car battery. So if your car battery dies out in a remote place, which for me is an absolute nightmare, that's not something I'm interested in experiencing. It's happened to me once before and it was not a good time. This guy can reverse charge straight from the Delta 2 into the car battery and problem solved. All right. This has also got a battery maintenance mode, so you can maintain your car battery and increase its life and increase its efficiency simply through the app on the EcoFlow Alternator Charger. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. Now guys, I don't want to waffle on about this too much. I have had this in my car now for a couple of weeks. I've had it in a few different environments, and I'm super grateful to EcoFlow for sending me this kit to review and to try out. I have nothing but good things to say about this kit. This is my third sort of, solar generator battery system that I've had. I've had one significantly smaller than this, and I've had one significantly larger than this. And I can tell you, the smaller one got me through maybe 12 to 14 hours at camp. My larger, bigger bad boy battery, that got us through 3 or 4 days at camp remotely, but I did have to plug it into solar towards the end of the weekend, and the battery did run out in the car on the way home. All right, so I'll say that. This guy, which is, probably half the capacity of my bigger battery, is always at 100%. Weirdly, like it drops down a little bit when you're plugging big stuff into it, but just turn your car on and it's back to 100, which is absolutely phenomenal, guys. Phenomenal. But look, what I want to do now is I'm going to run you through very, very quickly the install process. I think the install process is super easy, super simple. It's just an absolute no-brainer. Now, I've seen people put in dual battery systems in their vehicles before, and let me tell you, those things can run into the thousands. Plus, you need to have that installed professionally. So all of that adds cost, guys. It adds cost and it adds up real quick. Something like this is all you need. Plug it in, connect everything, and you're good to go. You could do that yourself, all right? So from a money-saving perspective, I reckon this is a no-brainer as well. Now, one thing I will say is the alternator charger is a permanent install in your vehicle, okay? So be aware of that. You need to have a place where this can live. You need to be able to run your cable through to wherever you're going to keep this thing in the car. Those are all sort of small considerations you might have to think about before installing this. It does come with a lovely bracket. It does come with all the mounting hardware you might need to actually mount this in your car permanently. And it also comes with this little guy. Now, I don't know if you can see that, but this is a little tool that you absolutely have to keep in your car, because this guy is the only way to disconnect the cables once they've been plugged in. Now, you can disconnect the cables from the EcoFlow Delta 2 very easily. It's a normal plug. You just pull it out. You can take the Delta out of your car, no problem. The alternator charger, though, is a little trickier. The connections clip in and you can't get to them without this little tool. So I've had this in my car now for about 2 weeks, and I've only needed to use this once, which was today, in taking it out to show you what it looks like. So yeah, but keep this in your car at all times. If you lose it, it's going to be very difficult getting those clips off, all right? Trust me. But anyway, guys, I'm going to run you through the install process that I did a couple of weeks ago. And yeah, if there's any questions up to date, put them in the comments for me. I'd love to hear from you. But in the meantime, let's have a little look at how this guy goes into the car. We're going to go out to a remote camp and use it. And yeah, I'll give you my final thoughts while I'm there. Thanks, guys. Check you out soon. Alright guys, just before I run you through the install, I'll quickly just show you exactly what you get when you get the alternator charger. So these are the little connections that I was telling you about before. There is a Wi-Fi and Bluetooth module here. This cable here is the one that connects to your car battery. This one here connects to the EcoFlow Delta 2, and then you've got a data port here for big firmware updates and things like that. And this is the little tool I was telling you about earlier. This little guy, you definitely need this dude to like disconnect everything, because it shoves in like that, and you just push it and it pops out the cable. All right, so definitely need to keep that in your car. And as you can tell from the unit, there's not much to it. There's a little LED light on the front here which tells you when it's in use or when it's not in use. And that's really it, guys. Super simple, super elegant, really, really nice design. I'm a big fan of the way that they've implemented this. This guy does have a little bit of weight to it. It feels like a very, very premium product. I'm a big fan of this guy. Beautiful bit of kit. And like I said to you, all the mounting hardware, all the cables, everything is included in the box for you that you'll need to get this installed in your car. And yeah, wonderful bit of kit. Let me show you the Delta 2. Compact design. It's very, very simple on the outside. Simple on and off buttons. Just get that turned on for you. Very simple and very simple on and off buttons. Very, very simple to operate. It's, you know, basically on or off. All the different settings that you could do with this guy, you do in the app, which I think is very convenient. The app is really nice. It's really well designed. It's very, very clear in what you can and can't do. I think it's great. As you can tell here on the front, we've got some USB-A's, we've got some fast charge USBs and USB-C's, and you've got just a little button there to turn them on and off, which I think is great. Let me show you the back. Okay, so this is the back of the Delta 2. As you can tell here, we've got some standard sort of plugs that you will be able to plug the majority of your appliances into. We have a lovely, lovely little 12-volt port just down there with its own power on and off. We also have some fuse inputs, and up here we have solar input. We have the extreme charge port for plugging in at home, and then we have an overflow protector. I forget what the word is. We have an overflow fuse. Sorry, it's an overflow fuse in there. All of those just live behind that little panel there, which is great. And that is the back of the unit. Super simple, very elegant. Nothing really to talk too much about there. And then on the back of the unit, side of the unit here, you'll see you have this little guy. So this is where the alternator charger will plug into, and like I said to you, this is a very easy connection to pull in and out. There's nothing permanent to this, so the Delta 2 can move in and out of your car fairly easily. Not a problem there. And that's it, guys. As you can see on the front here, the display, really nice display, very, very simple. It'll tell you exactly what's happening, what's going in, what's coming out, and how many hours you've got left. Really easy to read in the dark as well, which is great. Yeah, nothing more to say about that. It's a beautiful bit of unit, beautiful bit of kit, and cool. Alright guys, so sorry, there's cars on the road. What we need to do is we got to get this end of the cable through the firewall to the battery compartment. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try and just, I don't know how I'm going to do it. Going this way seems ridiculous, guys. Like, it's because this massive plug thing is permanently attached. Like, you can't disconnect this. Otherwise that would have been a very easy process. But anyway, we are going to go this side through. So let me see if I can pull that off. Alright boys and girls, with a little bit of effort and a couple of choice expletives, I managed to thread this cable through the firewall and connect it up to the battery. So now I've just got to run this cable, find a reasonable way to run this cable down through to the back of the car, and I'll bring you back when I've done that. Sweet. Alright everyone, so I've managed to run the cable from the front seat through to the back, and here it is, and it's quite a long cable, so I'm gonna have to figure out a way of, like, you know, tidying all of this up, but I'll have to do that in another video because I'm leaving for camp in like 25 minutes, so I've got to get packed and going. So here is the alternator charger, and the cable that we just ran through and plugged into the car battery is going to connect to the carport here. So I am just going to go ahead and plug that in. There we go. That is connected. Cool. So alternator charger is connected. I'm going to get the Delta 2. We're going to put it in and connect everything up and see how that works. All right, let's do it. Alright guys, I got the Delta 2 here, and let's plug this thing in and see what we get. So this is the cable that they supply to you for the connection. If I can just find the end of it. So the street's really busy today for some reason, apologies. Let me just get this guy up. And I apologize for the sound earlier as well. I'm not sure what was interfering with my microphones, but it doesn't sound great, and I apologize, but I can't unbox it again. So I really do apologize for that. I didn't pick up on the audio quality while I was filming. So anyway, here we are. So this cable, as you can see, it's about that long. So this is how long or how much room you've got to maneuver the alternator charger from the Delta 2. So there we go. This is going to connect to the battery pack, which has been marked for us here. Gonna plug that in, and then the other end of the cable connects to the back of the Delta 2, and that's plugged in. Alright guys, so I've got everything connected now, and I'm just in the EcoFlow app here, which I'll put on the screen for you. So I'm just going to click on the alternator charger here. So I'm getting a car battery port under voltage. So what we need to do is just have a little look, set the voltage according to the car engine volt. Okay, cool. So we need to adjust what the cutoff power is. Yeah, so as you can see there, we've got the start voltage at 13 volts. So I might just pull that down to 12. So now we should be getting some charge. Let's see. Alright, so we're still at 12.4. What I'm going to do is I might just start the car and just get some voltage running through, and then we'll try this again. Alrighty, there we go. So I've started the car. As you can see now, the voltage is climbing up. Cool. So we've got alright, so we do have a little error here. Communication with the power station. Ensure the device is correctly connected to the power station. Righto. Okay, so everything else shows connected. So this might be a firmware issue. So we might have to just do that. Alright guys, I'm gonna turn it off. I'm gonna just troubleshoot the connection issues for a second, and I'll bring you back. Cheers. Alright guys, that did it. I just had to update the firmware. Everything is connected now. Let me show you what I'm getting here. So I've just opened up the Delta 2, and check that out. I'm getting 635 watts into the battery right now. That's just insane. That is so much more power than I've ever had anything charged before. So it's telling me that this thing is going to be fully charged in an hour and 20 minutes, which is just absolutely phenomenal. So I do have the car running right now. I'm going to turn the car off in a sec and see what that does, but let me just show you the alternator charger specs here. So it's pulling 12.1 volts from the battery, 12.2, so the car is running right now. An hour and 21 minutes to completely charge. And as you can see at the bottom of the app there, we've got reverse charge, battery maintenance. There's a couple of settings here which we'll run through it later on. So I did change the start voltage down to 12 volts just because I wanted to see, but you can obviously change that to whatever you want it to be, depending on how, you know, what kind of capacity your starter battery is. But yeah, guys, just look at that, 620 watts going into the Delta 2 right now. That is actually very, very impressive. Alright guys, let me turn the car off and let's see what happens. Alright guys, I've just turned the car off, and as you can tell now, it's still pulling 464 watts out of the battery, but I don't know if my car battery is going to let me do that for very long, because I've set it to 12 volts, and I reckon my I reckon my battery in my starter battery is actually quite a low capacity, so it should cut off in a second or so. But yeah, guys, everything's working. Everything is working. It's doing great. That's mental. So 470 watts. That's the equivalent of a massive solar panel, which I don't have. So yeah, guys, I'm stoked. I'm absolutely stoked. Everything's working. I'm gonna tidy things up a little bit. Now we're gonna go for a drive and let's see what that does. Sweet. And I've got my little one with me, so there's a bunch of extra stuff to charge. I wanted to just tell you really quickly about how the EcoFlow Delta 2 and the Alternator Charger has gone. When we arrived here last night, the battery was at 100% because the Alternator Charger just kept it charged the whole time through the car. It was absolutely fantastic. I'll show you a little bit today about how that all works and what it does, but it works flawlessly, absolutely flawlessly. And I've been having my fridge running the whole time, and now we are charging iPads and laptops and drones and phones and keeping everything topped up. And the battery right now is at 87%. I haven't had the car on. I've set the alternator charger to turn on at 13 volts, which pretty much only kicks it in when the car is running. So it hasn't had any charge this morning. And yeah, we're at 87%. It's telling me there's 43 hours of power left in this capacity, but I've made some coffees, I've steamed some milk, I've done everything I could think to do, and we've lost 13%. All right, so the plan for today is we're going to head off to the border track and do that for the day. So the battery's going to be it's going to be in the car today and running the fridge, and I'm going to try and keep my cameras charged, my drone charged, and maybe make a coffee or two on the way. And yeah, I'll bring you back and let you know how that all goes. And yeah, guys, I gotta tell you, so far this for me is a game changer. Normally when I have a battery of this size with me, I've got to get my solar panels out, and if I don't have my solar panels with me, I'm plugged it into the 12 volt port in the car, and it just never, the batteries never get back to like 100% ever. Like they'll climb up a little bit, but as the weekend goes down, it just drains and drains and drains. I have a feeling this thing is going to be back at 100% within the next, maybe half an hour or so. But I'll bring you back, I'll show you how the app works and how to monitor that in your car as well. And yeah, guys, thanks for joining me. It's going to be fun. Hello everybody, man, it's going super well. We are, I would like halfway up the border track, which is amazing. It's been a great drive, but I gotta tell you, the battery pack, which I'll put on the screen for you there, is doing phenomenally well. So The alternator charger has been keeping the battery pack fully charged. We're at 98% now. Fridge has been running the whole time. I'm charging my drones, I'm charging my cameras, I'm doing everything I could possibly think of doing, and it's just eating it up. It's fantastic. Let me show you here what the battery's doing. So it's saying we got 45 hours remaining. Just running the fridge. Fridge is cold, 0 degrees in there. Awesome. Perfect, perfect, perfect. I can really see this being an absolute game changer. By this time on the weekend, normally my batteries are, you know, down to like 50%, down sometimes to 40% even. So this is very impressive. 98%. Very happy. I've been keeping an eye on the alternator charger as we're driving, and I'm hitting peaks of 754, 760 sort of watts. Which is an incredible amount of power going into the battery pack. And yeah, my solar panels, keeping it topped up. It's, man, this whole system here is really impressive. I think this is an absolute game changer. It's basically unlimited power out on the road, and it weighs almost nothing. It packs down super small. I mean, just look at the size of this. It takes almost no space, even in the chimney, which is great. Yeah, guys, I got to tell you, after 24 hours, this thing is absolutely incredible. I'm loving it. I think it's great, guys. Really, really good piece of kit. EcoFlow, you guys have killed it out of the park here. Yeah, it's fantastic. I'll show